have these conversations with your kids. If they ever feel terrified to tell you about something, something's wrong. Because that's where a lot of these kids, out of shame and guilt and fear,
they get trapped. Yeah, they get trapped.
That is the number one thing.
Smart money parenting.
All right, everybody, welcome back to another short episode of Smart Money Parenting. I got my buddy Chad here. How's it going, Chad?
Excited to be here. It's going to be quick, but we're going to give you some good value. We're going to pack this one in. So you're listening to this one because you don't have a lot of time anyways, right? You picked this one.
There you go. We are going to do a sub 10-minute show on how to keep your kids safe online. You guys ready for this? We're going to go straight into it. So thanks for listening, watching, viewing, and subscribing. How do you keep your kids safe online, Chad? Do you have any ideas?
Sheesh. I mean, it's tough. Like, this is stuff that we never faced, obviously. You know, the internet, while we were in grade school, elementary school, didn't even really exist. So
No.
it's a challenge for sure. Let's talk about the issues that you think are, like, what would you say are the biggest problems that parents face in keeping their kids safe?
Well, this is a big deal. And, there's a few things I need to say to set this up. I have been deep diving on this one for about a year. We help out big with the Tebow Foundation, Operation Rescue Child, or Operation Underground with trafficking. We are deep in this world to try to help the most marginalized kids on the planet. And what people don't realize is it's not just the marginalized kids. It's not orphans or foster kids or the poorest kids in third world countries. It's your kids. It's lower middle class, upper middle class kids, teenagers, young kids. The first time they get their phone or their tablet, they're playing video games. You do not know who is on the other side of that account. You do not know who's on the other side of the screen. You do not know who has that social media profile, who's really behind it. You don't know who's playing your kid in the video game.
Scott, I got to tell a story. You just reminded me of something that I haven't thought about in 3 years. My son was 9.5 years old during COVID, beginning of COVID, and their school went totally, in California, we went totally remote. And they had to download the app Discord to communicate and have a group chat amongst classmates and teachers based on their homework and stuff like that. So they had Discord. We didn't know what Discord was. Literally within a month of having this Discord account, my wife and I logged in to his iPad to see the teacher chat and check up on his homework. And we found a different chat where there was someone who was literally messaging our 9-year-old son sexually explicit stuff and asking questions, like really, really grooming, talking to a kid, like trying to be his friend and telling him he should look at these sites and he should join these other Discord chat groups. And it was sickening.
Disgusting.
It was sickening. It was disgusting. I was mad. I was frustrated. I was scared. I was like, who is this? Where are they? They're under some code name that I didn't recognize, obviously.
Yep.
And literally they're coming straight at my 9-year-old son, innocent little kid.
Yep.
So security, safety, and stuff online, it's a big thing, man. Had we not caught that, who knows how long that would have gone on, but it was scary stuff.
And the kids don't know, they're innocent.
They have no idea.
No idea when they're being groomed or they're being tricked or a predator's.
He didn't know who it was. He's like, who is this? I don't know who this is. He doesn't know some of the words they're using.
Right.
I'm like, this is scary stuff.
So one thing parents got to understand is your kids are almost 100% better at tech than you. Okay. They are smarter with tech. They're better at hiding tech. A survey just came out that 3/4 of kids know how to access old tech in the home. So you go into their room and you steal their phone for the night. There's a good chance that 3/4 of your kids know how to access an old iPad or an old iPhone and still get online and do whatever they want to do while you leave, after you leave. Okay. It's a great idea to have phones, for teenagers and whatnot, go as long as you can, not letting them have their own phone. But whenever you do it, we can say whatever that age is, 70% of 11-year-olds and up now have their own smartphone, limited versions, but they have it. So throwing it in the basket at 5 o'clock at dinner time, it's in the basket for the night, limiting tech time, limiting TV and shows, limiting what they're doing in their room with anything electronic is critical. But your kids are smarter than you at tech. They're probably, one of your kids right now is probably the IT person in the home. And you're laughing right now to yourself because that kid just figured it out on their own. 60-something% of 5-year-olds have already done an in-app purchase with one of their parents' devices without them realizing it. So these kids are smart. My 3-year-old knows how to turn on Netflix. Okay. My 2-year-old knows how to turn on Netflix. I mean, it's crazy. So kids are smarter than you, but kids are also, they don't have the experience and the wisdom to know when they're at risk. The number one issue, that the most valuable market in the world for predators is in America. Americans are also the biggest funders of watching online dirty content for kids. And pedophilia. It's disgusting. It's something we're attacking head on. We're also giving a portion of what we do for GravyStack to help this. We have a whole level in GravyStack with 10 games to teach kids online security, password protection. What you say is online forever. Be careful who's on the other end of the screen. You never know exactly who it is. Could be a cute 17-year-old girl, but it might be a 55-year-old pervert in his basement. Okay. We teach them what kind of people are stealing their data, why people want their data, why they want to have these attacks. And
yeah, why you don't put all your information online every
That's
time
right.
someone asks, like, hey, fill this out, put your name, birthday, what school you went to, your age, your middle, all this stuff, your
Yep.
preferences.
We teach them what data you never want to give out there and why other people want it and how they profit from it. But this is important to tell moms and dads. The number one way that kids get with predators is actually through some sort of technology, whether it's a video game or a phone or a tablet, and they start messaging them in the video game or in the social media app. And then all of a sudden they build a relationship with the kid, and then they'll ask the kid to send a risky photo. And that teenage girl or whatever it would be, or boy, sends the risky photo thinking that the other person is somebody who they're not. And then when they do that, they're captured. The person then says, I know who you are. I'm not who I am. If you don't do these things, I'm going to send everything to the whole world and you'll be humiliated for the rest of your life. I'll send this to your family. I'll send this to your friends. And then they basically get the kid terrified. And so that the kid will do whatever they want. They either send more stuff or they give them more information or they meet them at the somewhere locally. Okay. One-on-one, just so that the parents don't know. The kids are terrified. Okay. That is the number one way it happens. And then there's a sexually explicit activity that gets filmed, and then that is sold online for, now it's $100 billion disgusting dark web enterprise. That's the number one way it happens. And so parents, it's very critical that you have these conversations with your kids. Okay. Starting at 10 to 12 years old. Okay. By the time they get tech, you need to be able to having these conversations with them. They need to know the ways that predators can get to them.
We're all for tech. We're not saying, keep your kids completely, using old school calculators and never using a computer, laptop, smartphone. We're not about that. Like in my case, I delay my kids. They don't get a smartphone until their 16th birthday.
Yep.
My kids literally just got their smartphone. One of them's 18, one's 16. They got them on their 16th birthday. They were the last kids. I remember their friends were 11 or 12 years old, and they were like, my friends all have, iPhones already. And I'm like, well, you're gonna learn conversation skills. Like you're gonna learn not to be addicted at such a young age. Your brain isn't even developed for that stuff yet.
Yep. Your kids, especially if they're in school systems, are going to see things before you think they will. Yeah. They will, some kid in their class or their sports team or their camp or their after school thing or their homeschool community group is going to bring a phone. They're going to bring a picture. They're going to bring something that's risky that your kid is going to see before you think they saw it, sometimes years ahead of time. And that's where the tricks happen. So you've got to start having these conversations with your kids as soon as possible. Not when they're 4 or 6 or 8, but starting at 10 to 12, you want to start having, maybe even younger, depending on the situation. You've got to have these conversations with your kids because they're going to start seeing it from other people at random times. We are anti-sleepover in our house. I just don't want to take the risk, right? I know the stats on people that are doing behavior that I don't agree with at all, or illegal behavior. And I just don't want to take the risk. And so we are anti-sleepover unless it's some of our very, very, very closest friends or in our like small group or tight community. There's going to be sleepovers or birthday parties where a kid pulls something out and they find stuff. I mean, and any parent that's listening is going to know what we're talking about because we all grew up in crazy times and you know how this stuff happens. And you're sitting there thinking, well, yeah, my parents are never going to know. And you're right. They don't. And so it's really critical to have these conversations with your kid. And I would say the most important conversation with a kid is to say, look, if anything ever happens, if you feel scared, if you feel threatened, if you feel like you're in a really bad situation, guess what? Tell me, and I will not judge you. I will not, I just want to know. We want you to be safe first and foremost to protect you against these issues happening. have these conversations with your kids. If they ever feel terrified to tell you about something, something's wrong. Because that's where a lot of these kids, out of shame and guilt and fear,
They get trapped. Yeah, they get
they
trapped.
get trapped. That is the number one thing. And teaching your kids what happens to their data, what things you should not be giving away, why you have to have password protection, why insurance is so critical. Like, protecting yourself online is one of the biggest, most important things we can do for our kids. And you have to start it 3 years earlier than you think. If you think your kid's going to be ready at 12, have those conversations at 9. If your kid's in a public school system, maybe it's 8. If your kid's,
or younger. Yeah.
if you're on, or younger, yeah, 7, who knows? Like, the moment any of their friends, you start seeing phones out and tablets and all this stuff, be careful. This is the conversations we want to have.
No, my youngest is 7, Scott, and I talked to him about it. I'm like, look, if someone shows you inappropriate stuff, or if there's someone trying to message you on your iPad and you don't know who that is, it's not me or mom or grandma or grandpa, come show us. You won't get in trouble. Like, come show us. Let's see who it is. So, like, literally last night, something popped up and I was like, I walked by the kitchen table and oh, here's another thing for safety and protection. When our kids are on devices, they have to be in the kitchen area or in the family room area where we can see the screens. And it's not because we don't trust our kids, it's because we want that protection. So I'm walking by the kitchen table and I see something and I'm like, what the heck is this? Like, this is PG-13 content for my 7-year-old son who's playing a math game on his iPad. And I was like, Beckham, what is that? And he goes, I don't know, Dad, it's an ad. I'm not doing anything. I'm like, that's an ad that popped up on your little math game for a first grader? And he's like, yeah. I'm like, okay, delete that game. I said, we're going to find you a different math game that obviously is not showing those kinds of ads. Yeah. But that's an example literally from last night. This is unrehearsed. He's 7 years old. PG-13 like ad, totally inappropriate for a little 7-year-old kid.
None of this stuff is rehearsed, by the way. It's all off the cuff.
Oh, it's true. That's true. Obviously,
this is the life we're living, and we're sharing it with other people. And this one is a critical issue. So your kids need to understand, if something is threatening that's happening, or you don't understand, or you're scared, you come tell us. We will not punish you. We need to know if there's something that's a threat. You never know who's on the other line of the account or the video game or the social media, right? Steer clear of social as much as you can possibly do it. You never know what information people are trying to get from you. And so the less, the better, especially critical information. No payment information, no home detail, anything that's personally identifiable.
Address, middle name, birth date, all that stuff. What school you go to. Like, be careful about what you're sharing. Teach your kids to be careful about what you're sharing online.
Code, city, state, anything like that. Names, siblings information, anything that's geo-targeted is also another issue. If they, on an app, when they say we want to target, your location, no. As much as humanly possible, it's a no. And so that's the main issues that the kids need to understand to be safe online. And this is going to be one of our big workshops this year for our parent community. So if you guys want to do the parent community, go over to GravyStack and sign up. And we are going to have a huge workshop on this that's much longer. We did not cover nearly enough today, but this is a good starting point to help parents wake up on this issue, because it is a serious, serious issue. And they will learn things faster than you think. It's getting younger and younger every year. The industry for predatory behavior is growing and growing by 20% a year. There are 43 million kids trafficked around the world every year. This is something that I personally, and you, Chad, I know this is something we care deeply about. We are putting money and time and effort into eradicating this scourge. And so, that's what we wanted to give to you guys real quick. We wanted to keep this one under 15 minutes. And I know it's a hard hitting one. Go back and listen to it again, because we went fast. And share this with any other family members or friends or people in your kids' classes or sports teams that needs to hear it. We want to protect every kid. Our mission is not just to help 50 million kids become financially competent, ready to succeed. We also want to help 50 million kids stay safe and protect themselves online. This is a diehard goal for us. We care deeply about this one. Okay, we can be done. Thank you guys so much for listening. Please share this again. Thanks for following us. And we'll see you next time on Smart Money Parenting.
Talk soon, guys.
Thanks. Bye.
It takes more than money if you want to succeed. You gotta know what to do with it. You gotta take the lead. You gotta give them confidence. You gotta make them smart. If your kids are gonna thrive, now's the time to start. Smart Monday, parenting.